Hey everyone, it's Bennett, your fantasy football commish, with the Week 2 recap for the ForrestLand MishMash Fantasy Football League. And what an exciting weekend we had last weekend. As you can see from the scores, we had 5 teams, or half the league, with 170 points or above, and that includes 3 at 200 or above. So a lot of scoring, a lot of good action. Even though I missed most of it because I was working, I got to catch the end of it, and of course check the ticker on my phone when I had some downtime at work. So it was really exciting, and as you can see, as is so often the case with fantasy football, you cannot play defense. So we're going to start off with the case in point of the Catonsville Cartel falling to the Slim Aussies by 8 points, even though they scored the second most points in the league. This was really a barn burner. The Cartel got off to a great start with probably the pickup of the year, which was, and I don't know how I missed this, I was looking for a backup quarterback earlier in case one of my guys goes down, and all I could find was Teddy Bridgewater. Did not see Fitzpatrick, who followed up his Week 1 performance with an amazing week, and as you can see here, 38 points from Fitzpatrick. Well, it actually started Thursday night, 20 points from Flacco. Some of that was garbage. There was something else. The kicker, 7 points by the kicker. And there was Joe Mixon, who got hurt and is out. So going into Sunday, Cartel was doing okay with 20 from Flacco, 9 from Mixon, and 7. But really took off on Sunday with Fitzpatrick. With his 4 touchdowns. One of those was to O.J. Howard, who had 3 catches. One of them was like a 75-yard scoring play. So anytime you can get the QB receiver combo, that's awesome. Michael Thomas went off in the Saints game, which counteracted the Drew Brees. Drew Brees for the Slim Aussies had 19 points, and a lot of that was to Michael Thomas, who ended up with 30. James Conner got a garbage touchdown at the end for the Steelers. And that was, and also for the Steelers, Juju Smith-Schuster. So really a ton of points early, and not just the fact that he had the players going early, but also putting up a lot of points. And he was projected at over 200 points the whole game, and the Aussies weren't. But really, it started to turn when Drew Brees had some garbage points at the end. Kirk Cousins also with a big comeback and going into overtime with a lot of points. And then getting back to the receiver QB combo, the game-tying touchdown was to Adam Thielen. So Adam Thielen broke out late. And then Melvin Gordon was just good all day. And Chris Hogan had a couple garbage touchdowns as well. So a lot of late scoring in the early games. And then Brandon Cooks in the second game outdueled Robert Woods. So there's a big swing there because each of us had one Rams receiver, so 9-point difference between Cooks' 23 and Woods' 14. And then going into the Sunday night game, the Cartel had a 5-point lead with Saquon Barkley going, and the Slim Aussies had Ezekiel Elliott and Evan Ingram. And Saquon Barkley was just catching. Luckily for the Aussies, no big breakouts, but I think he had 9 or 11 receptions, something like that. So only 24 points. And Ezekiel Elliott got a touchdown, so got 18 points. But really, it was the garbage points with the Giants trying to come back at the end. They were throwing the ball, and Evan Ingram got a lot of stuff, including a late touchdown. And that's what put the Aussies over the edge, 225 to 217. Really exciting game. Obviously, I'm happy because the Slim Aussies came out on top. And, honorable mention to Cartel for Fitzpatrick, probably the bench or the waiver pickup of the year. Now we'll move to the Graceland versus the Stallions, which is always interesting with a husband and wife game. And Stallions are just hurting for points. Only could scrounge up 128. 16 from Russell Wilson on Monday night was not nearly enough. And Graceland just has a great team. Obviously, Mahomes with 45 points. He could be the pickup of the year from the draft. Which is one of the reasons why it's really cool that we do 2 quarterbacks in our league. Because normally you'd have Brady as your quarterback, Mahomes would be your safeguard, but with 2 quarterbacks starting, you get to start that other guy, which is really cool. So they get a ton of points. Mahomes and Brady is going to be great. AJ Green had 3 touchdowns on Thursday night in the first half. Algalor is having a pretty good year with Jeffrey out. We'll have to see if Alshon Jeffrey coming back hurts Algalor. Obviously, Deshaun Jackson, who's, believe it or not, been in the league like a dozen years already. He had one of those long Fitzpatrick touchdowns. So all that adds up to 200 points. Graceland pretty much slaughters her husband, the Stallions. Gets the win 200 to 128, going to 2-0. And we have 3 other games to talk about. One was interesting. This was actually really close. The Travelers over Show Me Your TDs. But it was basically, we had Andy Dalton on the bench. So, getting started Thursday night with 30 points on the bench is not how you want to go into the weekend. But obviously Todd Gurley, who's going to probably be the MVP of the league again, fantasy-wise, only had like 30-something yards rushing, but had 3 touchdowns. He's just going to score a lot this year. And Aaron Rodgers did a little bit. Just nice, even scoring throughout. Kelsey finally getting, I think he had 1 catch the first week. He's going to be great if Mahomes still does that all year. And really, it was tied going into Monday night, and all the Travelers needed was 1 or 2 measly points from Allen Robinson, and he gets 18 to put the Travelers over the edge. They go to 1-1. Show Me Your TDs, a little bit of tough luck, falls to 0-2. Got this guy Keelan Cole on the bench. Is that the guy that, I think that's the guy that had that 2-finger catch that was like Odell Beckham from a few years ago. I think that was Cole. Anyway, he had 7 catches, so someone to look forward for Show Me Your TDs in the future. Could be a starter in weeks to come. So just like the Cartel have tough luck scoring 217 points and getting the loss to fall in 0-2. First Down Order only scores 140 points, but they win 140 to 102. So a little bit of good luck there. Nothing special here for the First Down Order. No one even really scoring more than 22 points. But they get enough points. They had Bortles on the bench. And also, Colin Cleansers had Roethlisberger on the bench. So both teams had a amazing quarterback on the bench. Even if Roethlisberger played in place of one of these 2 guys, that would have netted her 30 points. Still would not have been enough for the Colon Cleansers to win. So First Down Order, a little bit good luck, but they're 2-0. In the last game, we have 30 New Long, also 2-0 with 185 points. The Finkel, I think, has scored about 140 points each week, so decent, but not enough to get it done, even with Stephon Diggs and Newton and tons of points there. Just not enough from anyone else. As you can see down here, single digits for Eifert and Robbie Anderson. TJ Yeldon, even with Fournette out, can only get 8 points. So just not enough there for the the kicking academy. 30 New Long, very respectable. Stafford, even though he's losing, he had a ton of points. Matt Ryan looking really good in the red zone, making me happy as a Falcons fan. Matt Breida, I believe, had a really long touchdown run. He had 138 points and a touchdown, so that's huge. So 185 points there for Third and Oolong. They get the win. They're 2-0. I did want to point out one thing, and I forget whose team they're on, so I'm going to look this up quickly. Adrian Peterson seems to have come back down to earth after he had that amazing first game. Looked like, wow, big pickup for someone who seemed to be washed up as he had 138 or 96 yards in the first game, but had a lot of reception yards, got 22 fantasy points, came down to earth with 11 for 20. So, is that because the Redskins played the hapless Cardinals in the first game and that was just a fluke? Or maybe the Colts, because no one really thinks the Colts defense is that special. So we'll see if Peterson sort of evens out and is respectable this year. But I did want to point out that JDL, which I believe is the Show Me Your Touchdown, your TDs, could have used a better performance from Adrian Peterson, who wasn't even starting. Well, let's see. Sorry, I'm going to the team. Just quickly go back to the scoreboard as I'm rambling a little bit. Let's go back to week 2. So I missed this when I did the recap. So Show Me Your TDs. did have Peterson in and only gets 8 points. That's got to be disappointing. Could have had this guy Keelan Cole again from the bench, but didn't really have anyone else doing much from the running backs situation. So we'll see how that goes moving forward. So let's take a look at the standings. Again, only 2 weeks, 2-0 for a lot of teams. If you look at the points for, you have a little bit of love with Slim Aussies and Graceland, both neck and neck for the top scores for the first 2 weeks. They go 2-0. Slim Aussies still had to squeak out both games with 361 against. And then we have the tough luck loser with second most highest in the league for the cartel, but yet 403 against, and they're 0-2. First down order again 323, which is sort of middle of the pack, but they're 2-0. And again the cartel and with a tough luck loss, 0-2. So there you go. We have still early in the season. We have each division has 2-0 teams. No one else in the MASH division has won a game, and we have a couple 1-1s in the Mish division. So there we go. Looking ahead to the Week 3 scoreboard quickly. We have some really good games. We have this one's dead even between Graceland and Slim Aussies. It's actually 0.9 difference. So it's basically, a pick'em game there. We have a 4.5 point spread here. A couple big spreads down here. So we'll see. As always, fantasy projections are, not as reliable as kind of Vegas real life projections. So thanks for listening. It was a fun week. Hope everyone has a good week, and we'll talk to you next week after Week 3.